So we added a for loop. Let's now write a while loop. And I actually want to use a while loop to create a more realistic user interface. Right now, we're asking the user for input 3 times. Now, I actually want to write a loop which keeps on going until the user quits, so that we actually can enter as many blocks and transactions as we want. I'm thinking of an interface which gives us multiple options to choose from, and depending on which option we choose, we perform a different action. Now let's start with that infinite loop. For this, I'll add a while loop. I'll add it in front of my for loop here, while, and for now I'm just going to say while true. And remember, this will create an infinite loop because true can never become false. We'll change this later. Just as for any other block statement in Python, you now add a colon and use indentation to define what belongs to that while loop. Now here, I want to get the user input and add a value. So I'm going to copy that old code here, indent this second line here too, so that now we're constantly querying for new input and we're adding that value to our blockchain. Now this actually means I can remove these two queries where we get user input. I'll keep the first one because right now we got no real way to determine whether we got a first value in the chain or not. So I will have this code before the while loop, but after I entered this first value, all subsequent values will be queried within the loop here. So now we can enter as many blocks as we want. I of course also want to see what's inside the blockchain. So I will now simply take my for loop here and indent it. And this will actually also add it to the while loop. This empty line in between doesn't hurt, it's no problem. The indentation is what counts. So now we got a for loop in a while loop. So after every new element we enter, we're outputting all the blocks in our blockchain. With this added, let's save this file and let's execute it again with Python blockchain py. So this is the first value I have to enter. I'm entering 10. And now I'm queried for the second value. I'll enter 5.3. If I now hit enter, you actually see I'm queried again. So it didn't finish the program. It asked me for the next value, but it outputs the blocks of the current chain. First block where I entered 10 and my second block where the new value is 5.3. So now let's enter another block, maybe 8.9. And now you see, again, here is where I entered the value. Then it's outputting all the blocks due to this inner loop. And this also shows that you can, of course, nest loops. And our last block, of course, too, as part of that for loop. Now important, you never see done being printed here at the bottom because we're never leaving that while loop. We're staying inside of it. It's an infinite loop. If we want to quit it, we have to press Ctrl-Z, but that, of course, stops our entire script here. So we also don't see done in this case because we don't just skip out of the while loop, we skip out of the entire program. For now, that's the only way we have, but this already is our first while loop in action, and it already improved our program. We can now enter as many blocks as we want.